This is the pilot speaking. The plane is not going fast enough. This is the pilot speaking. You know, it's probably fine. It's probably fine. Don't worry about it. This is the pilot speaking. If anyone can remember where we were meant to be headed, please let me know. This is the pilot speaking. If you look out of your windows now, there is a non-zero chance you will see clouds. This is the pilot speaking. If you think you can fly the plane better than me, then you should have brought your own. This is the pilot speaking. We will not be landing the aircraft until you have solved all three of the fiendishly clever riddles I have hidden throughout the aircraft. Stop, addicted to the shindig. Chop top, he says, I'm going to win big. Choose not a life of imitation. Distant cousin, to the reservation. This is the pilot speaking. We are 1 minute out from our destination. We will soon be beginning our descent. This is the pilot speaking. If you start playing Roundabout by Yes at 23:59:16 on New Year's Eve, the introduction will end at exactly midnight. This is the pilot speaking. The plane is not going fast enough. This is the pilot speaking. You know, it's probably fine. It's probably fine. Don't worry about it. This is the pilot speaking. If anyone can remember where we were meant to be headed, please let me know. This is the pilot speaking. If you look out of your windows now, there is a non-zero chance you will see clouds. This is the pilot speaking. If you think you can fly the plane better than me, then you should have brought your own. This is the pilot speaking. We will not be landing the aircraft until you have solved all three of the fiendishly clever riddles I have hidden throughout the aircraft. Stop, addicted to the shindig. Chop top, he says, I'm going to win big. Choose not a life of imitation. Distant cousin, to the reservation. This is the pilot speaking. We are 1 minute out from our destination. We will soon be beginning our descent. This is the pilot speaking. If you start playing Roundabout by Yes at 23:59:16 on New Year's Eve, the introduction will end at exactly midnight. pilot speaking. The plane is not going fast enough. This is the pilot speaking. You know, it's probably fine. It's probably fine. Don't worry about it. This is the pilot speaking. If anyone can remember where we were meant to be headed, please let me know. This is the pilot speaking.
Oh my god. Oh my god, we're in the pre-flight simulator realizing it exists phase of the stream. Very exclusive. I'm gonna get it here. There we go. Okay, we're in the post-flight sim realizing it exists phase of the stream. But hello! Oh my goodness, I haven't played Flight Simulator on the first day in many a month, or 2 months, to be specific. Well, it's good to be doing it again, I think. And boy, do we have a show for you today. We have virtually no entertainment with my own voice. Yes, that's actually my sales pitch. Where are we headed today? I'm glad you asked. We're headed to Rio. Rio de Janeiro, as it's called. But currently we're on some farm strip somewhere. The farm strip and I'm going to use the word, I'm sorry, the farm strip we heroically landed on last week. You can check the VOD out now. I think I put it on Twitter as well. Shared it in various Discords too. But hey, let's not flim-flam around, hey? Let's get this on. Now, I'm going to wait to turn on the autopilot because this is not a long strip and I want to take it off manually. That is just someone's house, best I can tell. So what we're going to do is, we're going to take this, we're going to rank that, quote Aristotle, 30,000, there we go. And alright, that's the altitude set. The vertical speed is going to be 1300 because we're brave. Navigation mode I'm going to turn on now because I'm not turning the autopilot on this instant. And with that, we take to the skies. I think we're going to do that. But before that, I'm going to remember to click record. And then I'm going to do absolutely nothing with the footage, because why would I possibly do that? Okay, hopefully this flight goes better than last time, because last stream was a calamity, but that's why we love it. I keep telling myself. I'm speeding towards this stranger's house. And pull the plane upwards. Have at it, ya Brazilian. Okay, and autopilot on. Autopilot on, there we go. Okay, now it will all do its own thing, I think. I hope. God save us if it doesn't. Okay, so the landing flaps and the landing gear are retracted, so we will peacefully accelerate on our way to Rio de Janeiro. How exciting. I'm excited. Hope you are too. Because if not, there's going to be problems. Now, just one last double check, make sure everything is on. Autopilot, vertical speed, altitude is set. Nav is on. Yeah, I think we are good as gold here. What I'm going to do is turn up the speed, and on this flight you will notice things like fields and clouds. And are you going to notice much else? I'll be brutally honest, the answer is almost certainly no. I'll be real, you're not going to see Christ the Redeemer, it's going to be very dark. That'll be next stream. You'll get to see the Rio International Airport where that episode of Smiling Friends is set. That's the best I can do, yeah. You'll see Christ the Redeemer next stream. But, yes, this stream, what are we doing? I'm glad you asked. I've bored my friends senseless with stories, frankly rather bitterly toned stories about my time at university, and I've always said I need to do a stream or something to just say them all aloud, get them out in the open, get them over and done with. Maybe, you know, this stream is to act as my therapy and you as my entirely unpaid, underqualified therapist. That's what we're doing today, where I'm telling university stories. Because I think they may offer some degree of amusement. Okay, I held X for points of interest. That is a wood panel. That's not interesting. Wasn't there a thing you could set it so it actually showed you the shit you wanted to see? I mean, the answer was yes, but you know, I'm gonna cheat a little bit here. I'm just gonna put that up a bit. I meant to do that before the stream because Rio is right on the edge of this plane's capability at its standard fuel. Right, so we'll just bump it up a bit. You know, cheat a little bit. It's fine. I was gonna do that anyway. I just forgot. So here we are. You know, I need to control that speed a little if we hit any turbulence. There's going to be issues, suffice to say. Audio a bit loud. Maybe I'll smidge it down there a bit. If you insist, I suppose I'll maintain 17,000 feet. At this point, unless that little blue line there is something, we're well past the Amazon at this point. Oh no, this here is an offshoot of the... Does that count as the Amazon? I actually don't know. I feel like it probably doesn't, but I don't know anything about rivers. So, there we go. It's probably in some way related to the Amazon, probably. I think it is pretty much, besides this, the one after that, pretty much the last vestige of the Amazon we'll get on this flight. After that, my promotion pictures I do will be completely incoherent because there's no Amazon left, even though I portray myself on the Amazon. I'm figuring that one out. So what altitude do I want to get to before we start talking? Let's get to, oh, I don't know, 15k? FL150, and then I'll start blithering. I did have a big, have a big Word document just full of the things I want to talk about, not elaborated on overtly. That's for me to kind of figure out as I talk, but no, I did try to add everything. I didn't quite succeed, but I don't know, hopefully I'll remember as I talk. That's some kind of, is that a town? You never quite tell what these shapes are from this sort of altitude. I feel like that's a town, he says, with absolutely no proof. It could just be the map. Satellite data not adding up, but there we go. Huh. So current altitude 11. No, I might as well start now. To be honest, I'm not sure why I'm giving it this much of a berth in the first place. So why is that road red? Is that a dirt road? Probably. Glad we had this talk. Anyway, speed am I going at? I don't want it quite that low. I want it a bit higher. Okay, that should take us to, hopefully not 300. I don't want to go that fast. Causes issues in turbulence, but anyway. Right, but anyway, university. The university I went to was called, and to this day remains called, Norwich University of the Arts, and attending it represents my greatest regret. I hated pretty much every day there. Quite why I didn't leave will be elaborated on, I promise you that, in time. The long and short of anyway is that I hated it. It was a scam. I was on the film and moving image production course. No one's fault but my own, but I hated it. I absolutely detested it. And the root of my detestation came in the interview, actually. In the university interview. Now, for those of you that don't know, I feel like actually this is saying that. This is fairly universal. Constant. In secondary school, high school, if you will, they cement into you every time university comes up, you have to have a firm handshake. Now, that is self-evidently a vestige of some kind of toxic masculinity. That, everything hinges on a handshake. You have to squeeze hard and firm and shake firmly once. That's what you have to do. You have to shake their hand well, or else it's all ruined there and then. You might as well give up hope for everything on the spot if you can't shake their hand. I remember we actually had lessons on shaking people's hands, which is so absurd, but we did. We had those lessons. I remember we had, it was an entire day dedicated to kind of auditioning for university interviews, because the whole point of the secondary education system, ultimately its end goal is to funnel people into tertiary education that they don't fucking need. You want to be a plumber, gotta go to university. You want to be an electrician, gotta go to university. You want to, I don't know, be a painter, gotta go to university. University is the root of all employability, and you must go there. That is what secondary school screams at you. But anyway, and it's just a coincidence that you get 27 grand's worth of debt minimum. But anyway, we had this day where it was all about interview practice. But I don't know what the school's logic was with this. They did it backwards. So the students played the role of the interviewer, and they had professionals in to play the role of the interviewee. To this day, that baffles me, because how is that meant to help you get ready for an interview? I guess the logic is that, you see, how you're meant to do it, but no, you should do it so that you can do it yourself, and then you get notes on how to do it better, and then you do it better, right? That's how it should work, not how they did it. But anyway, the long and the short of this day was that they had to learn climb, I think I may, thank you. We had to learn how to interview and to shake hands, and learn we did. We learned about firm, squeezing, billowing handshakes. And so the day comes. I'd selected my university. It had appealed to me, and in other words, they had tricked me. And yeah, so I managed to get in. I managed to interview there. And I'm, 18, 17 maybe at this point? I think I was 18. Maybe, don't remember, 17 or 18, probably 18. And, nervous as a clam, had my emotional support mum there to, And so I finally get called up to go and have the interview. This was my first time in Norwich, by the way, and I have some stuff to say about Norwich, and it's overwhelmingly positive, actually, unlike the rest of the shit I'm about to say. So I went up to the interview room and met the interviewer, whose name, and this name will recur, his name was Justin. I remember what his second name was, but his name was Justin, and he is going to be a main character for 2/3 of this stream. And what? So yes, I come into the room with Justin and I say, hello. And he asks my name. I said, I'm Alistair. And then here comes the handshake of destiny. And my mind ruminates on everything I learned. Gotta be firm, gotta be hard, not too hard or too firm. But this is gonna make it or break it. And Justin had the limpest handshake I have ever felt. I don't know if you've got any kind of cloth or tissues in front of you. I want you to pick them up now. I want you to pick them up, and I want you to treat that like someone's hand. Okay, so use your other hand, and you're going to shake this cloth or napkin. So you do what you're meant to do with a handshake. You grab it, and it's limp and soft, and there's no grip, and I was completely taken aback. I was baffled. I was legitimately shocked, because they had drilled into me this macho notion. Handshakes are meant to be firm and manly, and this was soft and wet. And in the years that followed, I actually thought, was that an interview technique? Was that meant to, like, put the student off balance? You know, how do you recover from this terrible handshake? Maybe that's a bit conspiratorial, but I've thought a lot about that handshake, and it's disturbed me every time. But because this was an art university, we had to prepare a portfolio, which I had. I had various, short films I'd made in sixth form, and bits of writing and whatnot. And he barely looked at any of it. Like, he kind of scrolled through 2 or 3 bits. I showed a very embarrassing film I made in sixth form that, thank God, no longer exists in any form. I'm very happy about that. And so the interview goes on, fair enough. I think I actually did quite well in the interview, actually. Let's adjust the view angle there. There we go. Yeah, I actually did quite well in the interview, I thought. And then there's this thing you do in interviews where they ask you, is there anything you would like to ask us? That was something else they drilled into us in sixth form, is that you have to ask your own question. You have to appear to show some initiative. You don't give a fuck about the question. Like, that at that point the interview is done, right? But regardless, I thought my question was quite good. I successfully tricked, or so I thought, people into thinking I was engaged and active as a student. My question was, and feel free to plagiarize this one to anyone entering any kind of art university, although I would persuade you to not bother with art university at all. My question was, how have industry links benefited the university? Ooh, I was proud of that question, I'll tell you. And at that point, I phased the fuck out, as the interview was done. I smiled and nodded and kind of looked all around his face like you're meant to do, and I just kind of nodded, kind of sagely, yes, of course, that's a good answer, I understand, thank you for answering. And by the time, well, what snapped me back into reality is that Justin was angry. The question had angered him. I distinctly remember him getting kind of worked up and frustrated, not like screaming or anything, but just like... He was like a boss disciplining a belligerent employee. And the thing I distinctly remember him said, this is when I snapped back to reality. I was like Moon Knight, it's like my vision flashed a bit, and then I was like somewhere I don't remember going. And Justin, frustratedly said, "It's not our responsibility to make sure you do well, it's yours." In a really frustrated tone of voice. That stuck with me, those exact words. It's not our responsibility to make sure you do well, it's yours. I've stayed awake many hours trying to figure out, trying, ultimately failing, but trying to figure out how that answer came from the question, how have industry links benefited the university? Because I didn't ask, like, what will you do to make sure I get a good grade, or anything like that. But my question had pissed him off. I think he was trying to give the impression he wasn't pissed off. He was pissed off. And so, having phased back to reality in that moment, I went, oh, right, yes, I understand, yes, thank you. Well, no further questions. And that was the end of the interview. And then there's the post-interview small talk that I did kind of fumble, but whatever. It's fairly irrelevant at that point. And so the interview was over, and I was asked, "Oh, did it go well?" And I thought, "Oh, yeah, I thought so." But in the back of my mind, as I walked away from the university for the first time, I thought, I've made a catastrophic mistake. I have ruined my future by signing up here. Between the limp handshake, between him not looking at all at my portfolio, and him getting pointlessly frustrated, I thought, what have I done? What have I done? This is a disaster. And I remember after that, my mum and I spent a while fumbling around Norwich trying to find the train station as there was a torrential downpour, which was quite funny. I don't know. I got a first class train ticket back home. That was nice. There was laminated wood. Whatever, that's fine. Yeah, I was mulling on that for ages. I thought, and I was trying to convince myself that, actually, it's not that bad. It's just nerves. The nerves are getting to you. This is just kind of a post. It's the adrenaline settling, right? It's giving all these negative thoughts. No, I was right the first time around. Anyway, was, and I must presume still is, a fucking disaster. I remember another thing he said, which was an outright lie. He said that they had like an excess of students applying to NUA, to the film course. I remember he said, we've been a victim of our own success. Well, the sixth form results day came, and I opened them, and sure enough, I was 30 points, 20 points below the UCAS requirement. UCAS being, it's like a university point system we have in the UK. And no one likes dealing with it. No one motherfucker on earth likes dealing with it. But I was below the minimum UCAS point requirement for NUA, and I got in. How would that have happened if they had an overflow of students, right? Unless, like, the entirety of the student body that signed up, that applied to NUA, somehow got underneath the UCAS requirements. So that didn't make any sense, and Justin outed himself as a liar at that moment. I can guarantee NUA was not a victim of its own success, because nothing about that institution was successful. Anyway, the next thing to know about NUA is that they fucked up their student housing arrangement. They were relying on the prospective students to sign up for housing before they knew if they had gotten in. And there's an absolutely minuscule number of university-run accommodations. It's not a campus university. So we all had to presume that we had gotten in. And if you hadn't, tough shit, you wasted weeks upon weeks applying for a fucking house. But anyway, I get in, and then everyone was desperately, asking if they had housing, if they needed housing, what is anyone going to do? And I ended up, out of desperation, finding a house with 3 other people I did not know, had not had any opportunity to get to know. The only thing we had in common is that we needed a house. And we found a house. It was broadly on the outskirts of the city. It was a shit house, I'll tell you that. But the people I got this house with, his name was Chris. I won't say a second name. I'm not going to say a second name. But his name was Chris. He was one of them. Another was called, and again, I'm not going to say any second names in this storytime video. One was called Chris. The other was Katie, and there was Mike as well. But Chris is kind of the main character of this house. Remember the first day we moved in? The first time we'd ever seen each other was the day we moved in, actually. And so maybe the first or second day we lived in the house, Chris knocks on my door. And the thing to know about Chris, he had terrible posture. He had a massive hunchback, but that's neither here nor there. And he knocked on my door, which he would do many times for irrelevant bullshit reasons throughout the tenure. But this was one of the first times he did it. And he said, "Can you help? Can you come and chop vegetables with me?" What the fuck? And he didn't say, "Oh, I'm making a stew tonight. Would you like to help me?" Or, if you're not doing anything, would you like to give me a hand with this? No pressure if not. No, he didn't phrase it like that. He said, "Come and cut vegetables with me." Okay. Because this was day 2 of us knowing each other, and we, I didn't want to start things off on a bad note. It would turn sour later on, but I didn't want to start things that way. So I went and cut his vegetables. And in the kitchen was a slow cooker he had bought. Now keep in mind, this was about, 5 in the afternoon. And well, I cut these vegetables with him, and the reason they're called slow cookers, I don't know if you knew this, is because they are slow. You start the slow cooker at 9 AM and your stuff is done by 5, right? Or even longer. They are famously not something you can rush. And if the thing is, if you start slow cooking at 5, you could start eating at 10 if you don't mind inedibly underdone vegetables, as was the case. But again, I don't want to start off things on a bad note. This is university. We're students. We have fun. We're quirky. Ah ha ha. Remember the time, the slow cooker wasn't fast enough. Ha 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 ha. Thing is, laughter is difficult when you've been deprived of food. And it's even more difficult when the only food you have is gobshite. Because the stew that Chris eventually... First of all, he managed to, spill a load of water down my back, which was by accident, but it did make me because you don't expect to be assaulted with fucking ice-cold water out of nowhere. But anyway. But yeah, we had the stew. It was watery and flavourless. Well, it wasn't quite flavourless, it was bitter. But beside that, it was flavourless. And maybe that would not have put me in such a sour mood if it weren't for the fact that the first day of university was tomorrow. So I was nervous, I was hungry, and the food I'd had was fucking terrible. So I was in a sour mood that night. Not helped by, the homesickness of, being away from home for the, first time. So no, that wasn't the day for me. So the first day of university comes around at last. Oh, what a day. I remember on the bus to university, I remember thinking, okay, this is day 1. Here we go. I remember distinctly thinking that. And the first day was just lining up for things to, apply for, the pharmacy nearby for prescriptions, and there was a brief introduction, but the first day was goddamn nothing. It was nothing. That's the only way I can think to describe it. It was, say hello, line up, leave. That was day 1. And day 1 was the first time I fully admitted to myself. I contemplated it after the interview, but I fully admitted to myself on that first day that this was a mistake. I've made a catastrophic mistake. I don't belong here. I shouldn't be here. I've ruined my life, right? That was a bit strong of me to think, but that's how I felt at the time. Something about prolonged talking makes my nose itch. I don't know what it is. That's annoying. But yeah, the first week... Was it the first week? First day? The second day, I suppose. I think it was the first week. We got put into random groups, which was broadly the first opportunity to get to know everyone, which would turn south throughout the course of the year, as I'll go into. But and we had to make a film entirely in camera. We were given like the bottom of the barrel camcorders, which was all we needed for this first project because it was essentially just fun and games so we could get to know each other. And we did it. We made some I think there were like keywords we had to base the film on or some such. And so we did it. Oh, haha, what fun, you know. University's going to be so much fun. And I suppose those next couple of days kind of warmed me to being at university, right? There were some alright time. I met some alright people at that point. I met people I did not entirely disrespect by the end of university, which is about as nice a thing as I can say. With two exceptions, Zach, Bobby, wherever you are, you're dudes. You are dudes. You are dudes. But that first week, and so then it comes our first like full filmmaking project, and the staff had decided, well, they seem to get along all right in that first, you know, fun and games week. We'll keep them in those groups for the rest of the of this first term. That's perfectly logical. Perfectly logical, and so I don't remember what the brief was for this project, but the film we ended up with was, well, first of all, we had to assign each other roles, and I was rather excited because I got to be the script writer. I got to write the story. Or I suppose I got to write the teleplay. We were all, you know, contributed to the story. Or so it seemed. And the film we ended up with, it was about like a nightclub. It was like a neo-noir thing. And this is a bullshit, like, first-year student film. This is not like a noteworthy or great film. Please don't get the impression I'm saying that. It wasn't. But, the director of the film was a woman by the name of Anya, who, again, I will not say the second name of, we're not doing that here. But her name was Anya. And so we had a story meeting. This was, I don't know, a few weeks in. There was a nearby student bar, which was fucking shit. The staff were really rude. But we went there everyone went there to discuss their projects. And so I bring in whatever draft of the script that is. And everyone goes through it and go, okay, yes, this, you know, change this, emphasize this, make this longer, whatever. And Anya got a certain percentage of the way through my script, you know, making annotations as you do, and then suddenly she stopped. Because, you know, we set aside like an hour to do this with our group, and that hour was up. So I figured that she's abruptly stopped, but maybe the reason for that is because she's going to go back and do it digitally. That makes sense, right? Well, tech savvy, and we all know how to do that. He's going to go and do it digitally. So the next day after, you came back with an entirely rewritten script. Entirely rewritten from page 1. She decided it was appropriate to completely subvert, and again, I'm not saying my script was good. What I am saying is that it was my job to write it. But Anya had decided to completely subvert my work. She rewrote every goddamn line of dialogue, every bit of description. Nothing about her script resembled mine whatsoever, and she had the fucking gall to still put my name on it. Now, the mentality they hammered home, the mentality everyone went in with, was that the director is the head of this project. You know, the director is God. Nothing more, nothing less. So, with that mentality, which I was still ascribing to at that point, this was one of a handful of incidents that kind of deconstructed that for me. With that in mind, how do you go to like the head of the project, take her script, and what do you do at that point? Because that's not even annotation, right? She's put down on paper exactly what's in her head. And what, her underling has to go, no, actually, it's this way. Not gonna work. Not gonna work. And it didn't work. Because I did exactly that. I decided in that moment I hated Anya, by the way. Absolutely hated her guts. And, but yeah, so I rewrote. I had to take a few days off from the script editor. I was so fucking mad about this. But I came back a few days later and I had kind of come up with a hybridized version. Sure enough, she took my script and changed it all back to the way she wanted. And then I remember the day before we were meant to start filming, like, one of the actors pulled out. And, yeah, one of the actors pulled out, so we, instead of, like, find... You know, what could you do in that situation? You know, it's a no-budget student film. What do you do in that situation? Do you substitute one of the actors for yourself? You know, have some self-awareness. This doesn't fucking matter one iota. You won't remember this in 20 years. Its greatest legacy will be that some no one on Twitch will tell angry stories about it. You know, do you substitute someone in the group into the role? Do you find someone in your immediate circle of friends who's interested in acting and get them in it? And that's actually kind of what she did in the end. But none of these things really require you to rewrite the entire script a third time, do they? So that's this. At that point, I was defeated. I'd already decided, you know, university, fuck this. You know, I'll just shut the fuck down. And indeed up, but there we go. And so we shoot the film. I recognise maybe one line of dialogue that I had written at the end of that project, but you know what? I was glad to see the back of it, because I was so defeated and deflated by that point. I just wanted it done. I just wanted this over with. Maybe the next project will be better, even though I'm fairly sure it won't, because I'd already made up my mind about the bulk of the student body in my year. And I decided that at a seminar that occurred, I don't know, a few weeks into university, where what? It was a character workshop. Basically, the entire year was in a circle, and we had to. And I thought, you know, off the top, you know, I thought, okay, this is good. They're teaching us about, you know, character development and script work. This is good. This is what we should be doing. But the woman that was running it, whose name I don't remember, I think it was Jane. I don't remember. But she had the kind of vibe of kind of an aging hippie. She was like militantly mellow, if that makes any sense. Had an obsession with the filmmaker Lynn Ramsey, which is why to this day I can't fucking stand Lynn Ramsey. She's a shit filmmaker. I don't care what anyone says. But so she was quote unquote running this workshop, and the idea was that you know, there was like a ball we had to pass around or something, and whenever someone gets the ball, we need to add like an aspect to this character. Okay. And broadly, it was done with this really kind of insipid, insufferable, like studenty sense of humor. You know, like, oh, I've watched The Mighty Boosh. I know how to make jokes. And so all the little character things were meant to make all the arty-farty students in the room giggle. Some of which did. You know, you could recognize that early on, the cliques that had formed. And, you know, it was meant to be a fairly quick exercise, as I recall. You know, pass the ball around, everyone says a thing, and then we work on that character. How can we make this make sense? But the cliquey, artsy ones took over the workshop, and Jane did nothing. Absolutely nothing. She just let this clique dominate the entire workshop. And they were like bickering with each other. They were taking it really seriously, even though it started out as like a really obvious joke. This character they were developing. And they got like really snappy with each other. That doesn't make any sense. Why would she do this if that was the case? Da 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 da. And everyone, you know, I remember I was holding the ball to say something. And you know, they were still talking. They weren't letting anyone else have their turn. You know, what they had to say was important, much more so than the order in which things were meant to proceed. And I think I had some like some equally insipid studenty gag characteristic to make. And I remember it got to me at last after like an hour, and I just went like, "All right, what do you have to add to this character, Alistair?" She's...
This is the pilot
interesting.
Speaking. We have just been followed.
Hey, we like the sound of that.
It's joyous to know that there is a person out there whose passion for flying planes in a roughly
they love the
straight
planes.
line
They love the embittered stories. Oh yes, thank you for following. You are a dude. You are a dude. And... oh, how the devil do you do, Robin and Noxie? How do you do? Anyway, where was I with my stories? The second kind of project. I mean, first of all, how are you doing? Oh, I'm glad you like the story. I realise they can be very embittered. Trust me, it was a very embittering 3 years, but it has resulted in a lot of stories. I can tell. So I'm glad you're enjoying them. On that subject, the second project of that year, I met someone named James, and James I got along with for a time. That first project we met on, which was the second term project, I got something good. I got a story I could tell on Twitch, I guess. God knows I'm not doing anything with the fucking degree, but anyway. I met James, and James we got along with. The second year project was a smaller project, I remember. It was just like, we were in like a group of 8 again, but broadly we were, within that group, split into twos, basically, and I was with James, and it was just like some sound workshop. We had to take like a silent film and add sound to it. That was the project, and I remember having a good time with that. That was like small light in the darkness. That project. Got along on that project. And as a result, there's not really that much to tell about that project. Just had an alright time. We got to do Foley. We got to add some sounds to like some silent films. And that's when I was trying to... and that's when, I was... even though I hated it, I was in the big... I was in the student mindset at that point. I was... oh, yeah, the composition of this, art film is da-da-da-da-da. I'm really inspired by this film I've never fucking seen and you couldn't pay me to. But, yeah, I was into that and I got a lot on with James. For the time being. But that second project came and went. I think there was an essay that went along with it. I don't remember anything about that. Oh, I know, I'm lying out my front teeth. I do remember something about it. I wrote about the role feminism played in Alien. I'd not seen Alien in years, and I didn't care much about the feminist angle to it. Not that it's invalid, it just isn't what personally interested me about the film. And I largely just plagiarized an essay I'd written in sixth form, actually. And I think it got a 2-1 out of it, so it couldn't have been that bad. But that's not particularly noteworthy. The third project of the first year, indeed the final project of the first year, was we were in a different group. Actually, actually, this is kind of a sub-story I will tell in the midst of this one. We were in a completely different randomly assigned groups. I'd not been with the same person in any of the groups I'd been in, except for maybe one person, I think. But yeah, and that actually, this third project is where I met Bobby, and Bobby to this day remains a dude. We stand Bobby on this chat. He comes by this chat every now and again. And Bobby is a dude. He's the one resoundingly great thing I took away from university. My friendship with Bobby. Bobby is a dude. But anyway. Yeah, so this third project, I remember the project was that we had to adapt a fairy tale. Now I don't remember what this fairy tale was. I really don't recall at all. But it was, what the story ended up was, and this is very film studenty, it was about futuristic drugs. Because it always comes down to the goddamn futuristic drugs. And, you know, this is where I became overtly familiar with kind of the third clique. The third clique? What the hell am I talking about? Another clique. The other main clique of this university, yeah. And that was the chest-thumping alpha males. You know, the absolute goddamn gym bros. You know, they're built like a brick shit house with a brain approximately the consistency of Heinz tomato soup. But the exciting thing about this project was I was the director. I'd finally wrangled my way into the director's chair. Holy shit, here we go. But the thing was, two of the people in my group were good friends with each other, and they conspired. They gradually kind of wrestled control, but whatever control I had over the project, I'll be real, I'm a fairly soft boy. But whatever control over the project I had was gradually kind of whittled away. I remember there was an incident, we had a meeting with the tutor, as we had every Wednesday, I think, where, you know, I was talking about, you know, what I intended to do as director, and, you know, I think I was asked, like, oh, okay, do you have anywhere, like, you don't know what you're doing necessarily, and I thought, well, you know, honesty is the best policy, or so they reliably inform us for some godforsaken reason. And I said, maybe I'm not so strong at doing this. The reality is that I wasn't strong at doing goddamn anything. I was a fucking first-year university student. But, he said, oh, well, could you use a co-director? And here comes the mistake. I said sure. Now, the thing about control, or power if you want to get a little more dramatic about it, the thing with them is that once you surrender it, you can never get it back. You can never get it back. And I did that, and I gave the tumor an in to metastasize. That's a very dramatic way of phrasing it, but I'll stick with it. Yep, that was fucking it. And I remember, yeah, they were gradually taking over the project. I had like nothing to do week to week, even though I was the director. Because they'd basically taken charge of it. You know, this was their story. They were very proud of it. They knew guys, and they were going to do it. And I remember it came to the first day of shooting, and we were about to shoot, and someone in the group said, innocently, this person was innocent. They were just asking sincerely, but this cemented that I was no longer director. They said, like, right before shooting, they said, "Oh, Alistair, can you come and help me with this?" And from that moment, yeah, I wasn't the fucking director anymore. I was a guy that was there. I really didn't have any role. I spent that entire shoot, I think it was like a 4 or 5 day shoot, just kind of sitting around. I didn't have anything to do. I was just kind of stewing with, you know what, it's May, the year is almost over. I just get through this. I tolerate this. I smile and nod, and then it's done. Then I don't have to give a fuck anymore. And so yeah, that was me. Certainly by the middle of the first year, absolutely by the end, I was defeated. I was like, "Yep, do anything. Who cares? Life is meaningless." I'm a husk of a man. Now that brings me on. Speaking of these chest thumpers, I mentioned that there were two kind of main cliques in the year. And those were they had the aforementioned like chest thumpers, the alpha males. And then you had the kind of very socially conscious, art house ones. I'm sure certain seedy parts of the internet would label them with the letters S, J, and W. I would not. We don't go there. But certain, I had heard that bandied about by less scrutable people. And so yeah, these tensions got to such a head that the year palpably hated each other. That the head of the year called a mandatory assembly, I guess you would call it, where we would discuss these tensions, where we would solve things, and attendance was mandatory. You will come to this and we will sort out these issues. I didn't go because this is the advantage of being like Mussolini in his final days, is just completely fucking checked out ghost. Yes, I did just compare myself to Mussolini. Let's not linger on that. That was not a good comparison. Anyway, yeah, I didn't fucking show up. Even though they threatened punishment for people that didn't show up, I didn't show up. Guess what? No one fucking noticed, because I was nothing. I was happy to blend into the back. I actively wanted to be completely unnoticeable in that yeah, and I was. I actually remember there was one. There was an older student, a mature student. He must have been pushing 50, and he got into like some really bitter arguments with a then 19-year-old, which is just the most pathetic thing I think I'd ever heard. Like, apparently he was going around the year going, like, you support me in this, right? You're on my side, aren't you? It's like, you're having a domestic with a fucking 19-year-old, dude. It doesn't matter who's in the fucking right or not. You're pathetic. Anyway, he actually left at the end of that year. I think he got so sick with the... Yeah. Several people did, actually. But they were the smart ones. When they weren't getting into domestics with people, 3 times younger than them. But anyway, so the year has come to an end. Thank God it's over. The nightmare is ended for, 3 months. Yeah, that was literally it. That was such like an us or them situation. It's like, you are embarrassing as a man. Jesus Christ. Because he quit like a career with the police, I think, to study film at university. What? No. More power to you. I've not heard of him doing anything since, so good use of money. Anyway, but back to the house and the people I was renting with. at a certain point in the year, we never had any like domestic arguments or anything like that. We just decided at a certain point, okay, we don't have anything in common. There is nothing here, and we never said any of this. It was just kind of implicit and understood. We don't like each other, really. There's nothing about us that is the same, and we just didn't talk. Kind of at least half of the year, just didn't talk with each other at all. If we passed each other in the corridor, we go, all right. And that would be the extent of our interaction, except Chris, who constantly knocked on my door and asked me if I wanted to watch various art films with him, and of course I would have rather died. So it's the end of the year now, and my scales, I had like a set of scales for measuring things out for cooking. I had a set of scales that had been missing for months. I didn't know where the fuck they were. They lived in the kitchen, but now they were gone. And one day, towards the arse end of the year, I noticed them in Mike's room. There they were, because Mike had a broken door. It had like broken early in the year, and his girlfriend had accidentally gotten locked in the room, and that was actually quite a funny incident because I had to throw a screwdriver through the window to release her. That was funny. That was kind of funny, I'll admit. That was maybe the highlight of living in that damn house. But yeah, Mike. And the thing with Mike was he was a heavy marijuana smoker. Now I have no problem with the smoking of marijuana. I'm not a square daddy-o, but what I do have a problem with is someone stealing my things to measure out illegal drugs, right? Or really just drugs of any kind, legal or not, And if he asked me to do it, I said, yeah, all right, that's fine. I know people that smoke weed. Go ahead and measure. But he stole my scales to do it. That really ground me down, because he also said he was going to get his own monitor for his computer. After the first term, sure enough, the third term rolled around, he was still using my TV to use his goddamn computer. So yeah, he'd stolen my scales, and this was the point at which I decided, because someone else in my year was Chris, in my house. He always used my pots and pans to cook his weirdly elaborate meals. He'd always fill up like 3 or 4 bits on the stove, heating pads on the stove to cook his massive meals, and he was a goddamn rail. Okay, you look at it, you think, okay, that guy can't weigh more than 130 pounds. But he had these massive king-sized meals every day. It was like an entire bag of peas and mounds of vegetables, and he ate so much, and he was thin as a rail. Don't know how he did it. And he always left my hands dirty and wet. And so between that and the scales, I decided, right, I'm turtling right now. I am turtly enough for the Turtle Club. I'm going to take my pans, I'm going to take my scales, I'm going to take my goddamn glasses and cutlery. They live in my room now. You get your goddamn own. I never said any of this, but it was explicit. Yeah, stealing roommates, that was a hell of a time. And so yeah, I completely turtled up. I was also terrified of like theft at that house for some reason. It was a slightly shady area. I mean, the shady area in Norwich is like a positively utopian anywhere else, but regardless, I was always a little worried about, people, what if we get broken into? I don't know. So I always kept my Xbox 360 hard drive in my room as well. But yeah, that was where we were in that. Yeah. Oh, speaking of food, you've reminded me. Thank you for that. One day, Chris, we all had okay, this is my freezer cabinet, these are yours, and we all had our own freezer cabinets. Okay, that's fairly implicit. People get that. One day, Chris came home with effectively an entire rack of pork. More pork than you had ever seen in your life. And he filled up every single bit of the freezer with it. don't know what he was doing with it. I don't know why he'd bought it. I know he never used all of it. Just for some reason, Chris elected to fill up the entire fridge with pork. I don't know what that was about. Knowing Chris, I'm surprised he didn't, eat it all in a day and then somehow gain absolutely no weight. But yeah, that was that. And where was I? Yeah, anyway, so it's the end of the year now, and I'm finally departing that house for the last time. I'll elucidate more on where I was going in a moment. Anyway, and next to us lived this really fucking annoying family, right? There were these like screeching children, all kind of primary school aged, and equally screechy parents. I remember there was like a brick walkway outside our house, and their child had like a scooter with hard rubber wheels. And so every day in kind of the summer, May, April-ish, the child would ride their scooter up and down this pathway. And so just every day you heard just that constantly. And so that, and I know this child was either named Jaden, Hayden, or Caden. I don't know which, because the mother was constantly screaming one of those names. It seemed to change constantly. Yeah, Porkgate was that was something. That was something. God damn, that was something. But I remember that day I was trying to download Mortal Kombat 10, which was shite in any case. But oh, plane's turning. And oh yeah, that happened. But I keep lingering around this story. Okay, so my parents came to visit. This will circle around to leaving the house, I swear. This is not a very well planned out storyline. Anyway, so my parents came to visit one time, and we met in town. We met in the Premier Inn in Norwich, if you know where that is, because that's where they were staying. And, they'd known I wasn't, like, particularly happy with the house. I don't know if they knew I wasn't... I don't know if they knew I was unhappy with the university itself, but they knew I wasn't having a good time with that house. They knew I didn't get along with anyone there. And so I'm about to... I've been, like, psyching myself up for ages. This is it. I've given it an entire school year. They know I've tried my hardest. I always do. I'm going to admit to them. I'm going to confess. This is wrong for me. I'm not enjoying this. I need to change course. I need to just leave university. This isn't right for me. I'm going to finally admit that. I'm psyching up to tell them this in the lobby of this hotel. Moments before I can, they tell me, oh, we found a single occupancy house you can have for next year. Fuck. God fucking damn it. So that was my one opportunity out the window, right? Because the thing with being unhappy with the university course is it's a knife edge. There is a tightrope wire between you haven't given it enough time and you might as well get your degree. And I thought I'd nailed that, only for it to turn out, nope, here's a subversion. We found a new house, and it was like, it offered to me in such a way, it's like, oh, you don't have to take it, but you absolutely do have to take it, so I ended up taking it. And sure enough, irritatingly, really irritatingly, I fucking loved that house. I fucking loved living alone in that house. It was incredible. University still sucked shit, but that house was amazing. I loved living there. It was really close to the center of town. Everything was as I wanted it. There was more than enough space. I could do everything my way. It was a great house. Great little house. But at the time, I was very bitter about it, as I was about everything. So, wrapping up the first house in Norwich, packing everything away, cleaning up everyone else's mess, because God knows they're not going to do. Apparently, they don't give a fuck about the fucking deposit. Eventually, the estate agent said we couldn't have the full deposit back because the grass in the garden was too long. Fuck off. Okay, whatever. Fine, we only get part of the deposit back. Oh, it was the most liberating thing. It was so liberating. I could just play Phantom Pain because it had just come out at that point. I could play it entirely in peace. It was great. But I remember last time I left the house, last time I left that entire bit of Norwich, as I was pulling out the driveway, in the back of my dad's car, I slipped my hand behind the headrest, and then as firmly as I could, with I think either Jaden Hayden or Caden watching, I just gave that entire estate, gave it a solid middle finger. Just fuck you for the year, you bellend. Fuck you. There was more to the house than the roommates, to whom, as I mentioned earlier, didn't really have any feelings towards. But maybe towards Mike a little. I never saw Mike again, but anyway. Where have I come from in this flight? Okay, I started there. What are we, halfway through this flight? Yeah, about that. About that. Anyway, I wonder if I'm going to get through all these stories in time, actually. Maybe I'm not. Maybe the next... maybe the Year 3 segment will have to be its own stream. I don't know. No, treat it next time and you'll get Year 3. But anyway, moving on to Year 2. And actually, I've got a really sappy story. Yeah, it was a little moment. It was a little moment, but I enjoyed it. And now I've actually, I'll wind back to Christmas of that year, which was 2014. This is kind of a really sappy story. It'll get sappy for a few moments, which I apologize, but it'll get bitter again later on. And the bitter bits are why you watch this, I understand. But I remember, because when you're a kid and it's Christmas is about presents, and you learn that it's also about togetherness and family and shit. But you don't really have any way of appreciating that because you've always... any way of appreciating that? Try and enunciate. Because you've always been with your family, right? You always know you can come home at the end of a hot day and your family are going to be there. Assuming you're in, a decent relationship with your parents, maybe... I don't know, maybe your mileage varies, but, that's always the feeling you get when you're a kid, right? There's safety in my house. But you never really appreciate, the family angle of Christmas. It's like, well, yeah, obviously, it's about family. They're never not there. But, at university, I was homesick and bitter with the course. And the first time I got to come home for an extended period was Christmas. And that was the first time I kind of appreciated, Christmas... I actually kind of appreciate the family angle of Christmas, this year, because I've had such a rotten time and I get to see everyone again. That was good. I remember I got Assassin's Creed Unity. I actually thought it was all right. I was the only person that did. Every other Assassin's Creed game since has been shite, mine. Anyway. So Year 2 starts up. I'm in my own place. I have to tolerate no more roommates, and it's basically a paradise. I can put my goddamn posters up in the goddamn living room. Holy cow. Wow. Did you ever hear of a poster going up in the living room of a student house? Whoa. Incredible. Didn't have to tolerate stolen cutlery anymore, dirty dishes that went unwashed up. It was glorious beyond words. Course still sucked ass. Now, in the start of the second year, they'd realised that kind of randomly assigned groups were a disaster. Absolute disaster, because no one in the course liked each other. So they decided in the second year, okay, you can pick your own groups. You can just do that yourself. So we did. I'm trying to think who was in that group. I really don't remember. But certainly wasn't Anya, I can tell you that. Never worked with that person again. I'm having words said at me. No, I'm not. Someone else is having words said at me. But yes, so the film, and there were only two groups in this year of university. One in the first 2 terms, and a different one in the third. And the first project of the year was, what was it? Yeah, I don't entirely recall which order these two came in, but I don't think the order matters too much. We had to make the first project, I think it was the first, was a documentary project. We had to make a project of our choosing, and everyone came with their own suggestions. And in my defense, I thought mine was quite clever. I thought mine was quite good. No one else agreed. Actually, people were fairly tolerant towards it, but Justin, see, we've circled back. Justin is involved again. Justin did not agree, and he was very verbal about it. Justin looked like a fucking potato, by the way. He looked like the amazing colossal man, but with more clothes. Well, I'm glad you've enjoyed. I hope you have a good sleep. When am I streaming next time? Good question. Let me check, actually. I do have it on Twitter, although the Twitter link on my Twitch page I don't think actually works. The next time I am streaming is on... Oh, I know, actually, it's on Sunday. I'm streaming on Sunday, same time on Sunday. You can check me out then, and I hope to have you back then. At 9 PM BST on the Sunday. What am I doing on the browser? Why am I just clicking buttons? There we go. Okay. But yes, where was I? Oh yeah. So we all had our ideas, and my idea was we make a making of documentary about another group's documentary. Well, hey, get a little meta with it. That's quite clever. I quite like that. No, see you around. You've been thanks for the follow. You've been a lovely audience member. Thank you. But yes, and Justin didn't agree that this was a good idea. He really aggressively launched into the idea. He just like, okay, this wouldn't work for that reason and that reason and that reason. He really singled me out to point out why it wouldn't work. And the idea we ended up going with was, and this was, I thought, a really insipid, sappy, pointless piece of shit subject. We make a film about the meaning of life. God. You're gonna pitch the fucking meaning of life to a Mr. Atheist. Okay, cool. So that's the one Justin ultimately decided on. For some reason, don't know why it was the tutor's responsibility to pick which direction the project went in, but that's the direction we went in. Now we're going to ask artists about the meaning of life. Okay, cool. Life, a thing that famously has no meaning, and we're just kind of doing things until we're fucking bones. Cool, we're going to make a film about that. Oh, cool. And to make this film, first thing we did was we don't have my chat box on. There we go. First thing we did was to kind of narrow down our potential range of participants. Was we did man on the street interviews, on which I remember I was really like inactive on that project. Like I did not give a fuck about that year, and it showed. And people got annoyed with me because of it. And I'll say that I won't frame myself entirely as the hero of these stories. And yeah, they did man on the street interviews, people what they thought the meaning of life was. Hey, what's your occupation? What do you think the meaning of life is? Bye. And we ended up they ended up finding 2 people. I was the director on this project, although frankly you couldn't call me that because I barely ever showed up to anything because I was a useless piece of shit on that entire project. Again, people had words with me because of that. And there were 2 people we found. One was this kind of soft... He was an elderly Indian man. He was a really soft-spoken gardener of one of the local churches. I don't remember his name, but... And the thing with Norwich is you cannot, almost literally, you can't turn a corner without being met face to face with some magnificent piece of like 15th century architecture. They're always there, no matter where you are, they're there. And the other person we met was a poet, again, kind of an elderly man. And his name was Pete. I remember that his name was Pete. I can remember that because he was a piece of shit. Pete was this really pretentious, snippy guy who had... I feel like I was the only one that seemed to notice any of this shit. He had a real penchant for women 3 times younger than him. So when a group of university students, many of whom are women, of the age of about 19, at most 20, they'll come up to him and say, "Hey, can we make a film about you?" This skeevy motherfucker agreed in a heartbeat. He was real. Thinking about him, I get, he's awful, man. He was a 24-carat bellend, my god. And so, although I do remember we really gave him like the runaround for some reason. We'd constantly like telling we'd meet in places, and then like we'd say, actually come to a different place at the last second. We annoyed him. I'm glad. And we went to his hometown, which is a nearby town called Shoreham. He invited us into his flat. And the thing to know about his flat is that the residents of that block were overwhelmingly trustworthy. So trustworthy they did not lock their doors. That becomes an important detail later on. Now, so we filmed with him in his house, in his local cafes. Filmed him surrounded by these, I don't know why they elected to hang around with him, but some women 3 times younger than him. Real horrible, man. And for some reason, we booked him to like go on a boat trip because we needed some dramatic shots of like him on a boat. I don't know why. We needed the boat shot. And so that happened. And the thing we noticed was that we actually didn't have much footage of his flat. You know, we had like the talking head sections, but his flat itself didn't really have much. So while half the group was off on this boat trip, I, the director, and the cameraman, this was kind of agreed upon with the rest of the group, and we quietly didn't mention it to Pete. We went, you know, what if we just like went into his house without asking him? What if we entered his house illegally? So yeah, they went off on the boat, and me and the other guy went up to his flat, and we were nervous as anything. Like, I'm about to commit an actual literal crime. That's interesting. And so we were there at the door, and I was feeling altruistic, so I said, "Hey, because we know where he is. We can call up people, and they will say he's with them, right? But still, there's that voice at the back of your head that says, what if he's not? What if he decided not to? What if he decided to actually sleep in this day?" So I say, okay, what I'm going to do is I'm going to knock on the door. I'm going to slowly enter myself. I'm going to say his name. I'm going to Pete. Oh no, he went by Peter, didn't he? Oh no, I remember. Yeah, he once made a remark about how he doesn't like being called Pete. So I'm calling him fucking Pete. He was Pete. Okay. But yeah, so I knock on his door. Pete, are you there? Are you there, Pete? And so I gradually enter, and he kept his apartment really scruffy. Like, there was just shit all over the floor. He didn't clean up after himself in the slightest. It was fucking repulsive. And so I see that the bedsheets are kind of crumpled up in a way that looks like he's kind of underneath them, kind of snuggled up. And so I go, Pete, you there? No answer. Then, I conclude, coast is clear, up you come. And so we get the shots of this man's apartment. We get, like, some interesting shots of, like, the tap kind of dripping and all the books on his shelf. And we're quiet about it, but then the cinematographer of that project, who was another person I got along with until I didn't, he said, right, can we get footage of, like, the dancing Santa Claus he has? Even though it's really fucking loud, and if anyone is nearby and knows Pete is not in, we're fucked. But against my better judgment, I go, yeah, sure, why not? So we get the shot, Santa Claus screams and dances around. I go, great, we're done here. And he says, can I get another angle of it? Gotta be fucking kidding me. Okay. Okay, yeah, we can do that. Yep. And so we do, but sure enough, we don't get caught. We managed to get in, get out, got the shots we need. Pete never knew we were there. And I've got to say, that gave me a taste for crime. Ooh, that was fun. We're not meant to admit it, but ooh, it was fun to violate another man's property. Ooh, that was good. That was good. Thank God I don't have many followers. That's all I can say. Now, now the other side of this project, the soft-spoken Indian man, whose name I don't remember, but he was nice. He was decent. He was good to work with. And he was as soft-spoken and gentle as you would expect a church gardener to be. And now we wanted some... I remember this was early on in the project. We wanted some test footage. So I went with one of the girls in the group, who actually Pete had a particular attraction to. I'll say that and get into it later. And what we were going to do, she was going to ask questions and I was going to film it. And to get the camera, the university had a rental house. And I've been reliably informed it was very easy to get, rentals from the university. Especially day rentals. I'd been told, indeed shown by people, by James actually, who was in this group actually. This was when we were still getting along. He showed me, because he went in, he showed his ID to the guy at the counter, the rental thing. Said, hey, can I take out one of the cameras for the day? Guy at the desk said, sure, here you go. Even though it was like a £500 camera, he just took it out, and a bunch of lenses that probably cost even more. He just asked for it and went. Bam, there we go. And I figured, okay, simple enough. I'm going to do that. And so I go to the rental place. I said, hey, can I borrow a Canon 50D or whatever it was? Guy, who I think was the same guy, said, have you filled out the form? I'm sorry, the what? The form, have you filled it out? No! No, I've not filled out the form. What form? I've not... No, what? So he said, oh, well, if you go to the computer lab, which we called the monastery because it was a converted 15th century monastery, which was cool. And so I was like, shit, I meant to meet them in like 5 minutes, but so I run to the monastery, I fill out this form, I send it, I email it to them, And by the time I'm late, so I run back to the monastery, to the camera rental place, and I go, okay, I filled it out. I sent the email. You should have gotten it by now. Didn't get it. So I said, well, what the fuck am I going to do now? I said, well, you'll have to fill it out again. Son of a bitch. Son of a motherfucking bitch. Okay. Fuck. Okay. So I go back to the monastery. I'm very late at this point. Fill out the form again. I send it again. He still hasn't received it. Attempt number 2 had also been a fluke to get the fucking camera that James had walked in, asked for, and left with in like 20 seconds. God damn it. Okay. So yeah, I think this guy could see I was panicking at this point. So he just gave me a paper version of the form. And so I fill that exactly the same way I had, and I hand it in. You can't possibly reject it this time. Sure enough, he tells me to fill in some more shit. I do. And at last, that long goddamn motherfucking last, I dealt with the goddamn bureaucracy, and I had my camera. I had the camera there, ready to go. Thank God I already knew how to use it, or there would have been even more problems. By this point, I'm almost at least half an hour late. Probably pushing an hour late. And so I arrive at this person's church, the church he works at, where he agreed to talk to us. He's not there. The girl on the course, whose name I don't remember, let's call her Jane. Jane wasn't there either. So I think, fuck! I've missed them. How am I going to explain this one? I feel, even though I was very apathetic throughout the entire course, I felt bad about this one. Now, luckily, right next to this church is a shopping centre, which, fun fact, was a converted chocolate factory. There was a shopping centre right there. And, you know, I'm looking all around this church. Turns out they were actually in the church anyway, but I guess I couldn't see them, whatever. So I think, how can I get in touch with Jane? I don't know. Because I didn't have a phone number. What I did have was a Facebook group chat that she was in. So what I do is I go into this shopping centre. I go to the Apple store. I log into Facebook in the Apple store, which is a very bad idea, but I did this anyway. Didn't have two-factor authentication at the time. Thank God, which is not normally something I say, but it's good because I managed to log into the thing. And I said, hey, where are you? I'm so sorry I'm late. Where are you? And she says, we're in the church. Okay. So I log out of Facebook. I'm very careful to log out of Facebook in this Apple store. And I go to the church. Thank Christ, there they are. And you could tell she was annoyed with me. Why wouldn't you be? So we managed to get this goddamn test footage. It's marked as private on my Facebook, actually. My Facebook, my YouTube. I wonder if I can post it in the chat. At least I think it's still on my YouTube. It is set to private because it was only for that group, but I wonder if I can find it. How might I go about there? I go to YouTube Studio, and it was just like filming shots of the church and, you know, test, you know, and in test interview footage, and it was barely audible because we weren't using, you know, mics. Like I say, it was just test footage. Ah, here it is. Yep. Well, 31 minutes. View on YouTube. Can I view it on YouTube? Ah, yeah, here we go. Here we fucking go. So if you choose to click this link, you will be the first person to watch this footage in about 5-6 years. There it is. And that's just the test of it. And it's, like I say, almost unwatchable. And you might want to turn your volume down for it. There's some sharp volume peaks in it. But there it is. And so anyway, that was that with that little incident. What happened next? Basically, we got on with the film. Pretty much, I remember one day, like, my boiler broke, or something similar, or I had a maintenance guy coming. So even though I was the director of the film, I was a real piece of shit, and I said, "Yeah, I can't come. Can't come to this shoot. I've got a boiler guy coming." Which, let me tell you, went down like a lead balloon. But regardless, I did it because I was a big piece of shit. To everyone, yeah, and but he was good to work with because he was very gentle and soft-spoken. It was good. Now, during the editing process for this film, we'd gotten all our footage, we'd broken into houses, I'd run around an Apple shop. But we got all the footage we need, and then editing started. And we had a new student that year, joined from another course or something, I don't know. And she was not pleasant. He was very angry at everything. Don't know why, but she was. And I remember, so I'm technically the director of this film, even though I'm doing dick to it and everyone knows it. And so I'm kind of overseeing. I'm kind of there while she was editing, kind of, stop by, how's it going, you? I don't remember her name. Let's call her Jane as well. She's a different Jane. And so I'm looking for a while, looking at what she's doing. And I remember she really sharply went, "Are you just going to stand there?" Well, yes. I'm seeing how editing is going. I am going to stand here. Clearly you don't want me here, so I promptly fucking left. And I remember we had to do a pitch for the film as well to like a board of so-called professionals. I think they were just people they dragged off this fucking street, as far as I could tell. But this was at the beginning of the project, and we said we had to pitch it. What is the documentary about? What are the themes? What was the impetus? How are you going about it? All this stuff you do in a pitch. And everyone has their thing to talk about, and this girl, the other Jane, talks about, she's like talking about how the film is going to look. And I remember this distinctly. We were told, like, we can't use like scripts or aids. It has to, be naturally presented. She read off a fucking piece of paper and no one said dig. That annoyed me. Anyway, oh wow, there's a plane right there. That's interesting. And I remember this. I'll always remember this for some reason. She said it in a way that's always stuck with me. She said, "The film will not be drab. It will be bright and beautiful." Like that. It will be bright and beautiful. Never forget that exact rhythm for some reason. And the film, the final product, looked like a Zack Snyder joint. It was fucking monochrome as fuck. There was no color. There was dick all color. She graded it to the point of... Actually, did she do the grading? No, actually that was a different incident. Yeah, she did the grading on that one. And yep, she took the footage and made it incredibly drab. No one seemed to mind or notice that she'd patently gone against the brief, but there we go. I wasn't going to point it out, I was just the director. And the director didn't really give a fuck at that, but anyway. So that was the film. That film, that was done. Behind us, it was finished. It was called Seeds of Thought, I remember, which fuck that title, first of all. And after the film was finished, Pete kept getting into touch with the original Jane. And kept asking if she wanted to, come out to some of his poetry readings and all this. Just really skeevy stuff you don't fucking say to a 20-year-old when you're in your 60s, right? And good on her, she, put her foot down at a certain point. I think the last thing she ever said to him, via text, they'd exchanged numbers so they could stay in contact in the project. But she had made it perfectly clear that, this makes me uncomfortable. Do not contact me on this number anymore. Good on her. That is the correct response. Well fucking done. Not to patronize, but there we go. For the second project of that year what was it? Oh yeah, that was a fiction film, but I remember. And I wasn't the director on that one, I was the editor. That was the project that taught me that the editor gets blamed for everything. Bad cinematography, bad writing, bad scheduling, bad color grading, all the editor's fault. Which is bullshit. But the editor is in charge of the last part of the filmmaking process, so he's the easiest to blame. But yes, I was editor on this project. And this was a film... I don't remember if there was a brief on this or if it was just a thing we got to make. That was original. But James was head of this project. He was directing. And this was the project where my relationship with James started to falter. It really did. The thing to know about James is he was obsessed with lenses. He decided that he was the lenses guy. Every project he bought 17 lenses. He spent half an hour umming and ahhing over which lens to use. Like anyone gives a fuck, but anyway. That was his thing. He was lens man. And on this project, we got to use cine lenses, which the university had a certain stock of. And they were... If I recall correctly, they were worth 17 grand. 17 grand, these lenses. These were proper... These were the lenses they use on proper Hollywood films. And they were wasted on the DSLRs the university had. They didn't have any professional grade cameras, this film course that boasted about how affluent it was. They didn't have any proper movie cameras. Only had fucking off-the-shelf DSLRs. God damn it, okay. Good DSLRs. I don't doubt that they had 5Ds and stuff. I think we used them for that project. But yeah, they weren't. They were wasted. The lenses were wasted on those cameras. Anyway, this project, it was about and it was kind of a surrealist, because it's a student film, of course it's fucking surrealist, about why is my plane turning? What the fuck? What are you doing, plane? That's wrong. Run out of fuel? No, I still have 62%. What the fuck is going on? Hang on, story time will resume shortly. Where is my plane going? Okay, I think I need to sort something out here. Right, let's turn off navigation mode, heading select. Go in that direction. Alright, this is weird. Anyway, let's tell stories in the meantime. Where was I? Oh yeah, this film. It was about a hoarder, basically, His parents had, as well, the parents had died, and he decided to shut himself in. The film was called Woodbeard. Again, based on a very insipid studenty joke, and yeah, I was the editor. I would establish that, and I remember I stopped by, see how filming was going. Like, against my better judgment, I must say, someone encouraged me to see how it was going, even though I was neither wanted nor needed on that set. And the filming was going disastrously. They'd been going for 3 hours and they hadn't shot a single shot. And this actor they'd got to very generously be in it sans payment, as far as I was aware, was going along with it. You could tell he's like, I have so many better things to fucking do, but he was being a sport about it enough. And remember there was a stunt shot in it where like he had to fall into a load of boxes. It is the lamest stunt you've ever seen in your life. And it was shot horribly and the lighting was awful. Which is a fact I became very familiar with as I edited. And so anyway, yeah, filming is concluded at long fucking last and everyone's happy to see the back of it. And it comes to editing. And Chris, our friend Chris, is back, and on this project, Chris was the color grader, amongst other things, I think. But yeah, he was doing the colors on this film. And so one day, while editing, Chris, we were expecting Chris to come back with, this color graded footage, and what he came back was with, he had like 2 or 3 shots colored, like terribly, and he was under the impression that like it was all done. I have no idea to this day what Chris thinks he did, but the footage looked like it had come straight from hell. It was something. And so like this was like a day we were meant to show a cut of the film, and just adjust the heading here. So we were meant to show a cut of the film. We were meant to just like click, drag and drop the color grading files onto the editing timeline. Bam, it's done. Chris ensured it didn't fucking work that way. So the moment he leaves the room, because I'm stunned by this, my mouth is literally agape looking at this horribly graded footage. The moment he leaves the room to go and do something else that day, I was with the director, James. I just turned to him. The moment the door closes, I turn to him and I go, "This is unusable. This is unusable." Luckily, he agreed. And so, like, 3 of us had to spend ages just, like, going each, like, cut of the film, each bit of footage, and just, like, color grading them exactly because Chris fucked it up. He also thought you could send, like, massive, like, gigabyte big files over Facebook, which is ludicrous. But anyway, Chris was a ludicrous man. Let's turn navigation mode back on. Maybe it'll behave now. No, it won't. Anyway. Yeah, and the reason I kind of started falling out with James on that project is because he was a tyrant. He was a tyrant. Everything had to be done James's way. Any suggestions? Nope, doing it James's way. Any please that things cannot go this way? Nope, doing it James's way. And he was overseeing me editing as I was overseeing the second Jane editing. And he kept saying, "Yeah, you need to zoom that shot in a bit more." But it's already zoomed in like 150%. It looks terrible. Like, I can't zoom it in anymore. Just zoom it in a bit more. And so, being defeated by this point, mentally defeated, I went, fine. Sure thing, James. And I zoomed it in more. And it looked fucking disastrous. For these ludicrous lenses that cost 17 grand, and we got to rent, and he actually dropped one of them and almost broke it, and he didn't face any punishment because he fessed up to it, but and it was insured, so whatever. But yeah, for all these fancy lenses he'd got, he fucked it up. He fucked up the cinematography. We also did that. He also made us do that inherently studenty thing. I say he did it. I don't know if it was a group decision. I truthfully don't recall. Where like you just slap black bars on the top and the bottom, regardless of whether or not they actually suit the film. But what the hell? I see what the problem is here. The game's fucked up. Oh, I don't know what the fuck is going on there, but more power to it. Gonna have to kind of use my cunning on this one. Or what precious cunning I have, which ain't much, but there we go. Anyway. So that was that, as they say. And that kind of concludes... Does it conclude the... Did I even really resolve that story? Oh yeah, James was a dick to work with, and I fell out with him. But he was very proud of it all. He liked his kind of surrealism. Even though he constantly aimed for surrealism, he only ever hit cheap. Yeah, that was the second half of that project, and it wasn't fun, I'll tell you. So, how long we got to go? Tell you what, folks. I think we've hit a nice point of pause here. What I'm going to do, I'm going to go to the toilet. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to throw up this little BRB screen. There we go. And hopefully the plane doesn't explode, but that is a possibility. If it does, parachutes are in the... I've returned. I've returned to life. I've resurrected like Lazarus before me with tales of university woes. Oh, are you going to crash flight sim? No, you're not. Thank God. Okay, so let's turn in this direction. Yes. I'm trying to follow the course that the game will not permit us to. Oh, heavens. So, where was I? Yes, have a look at my note sheet. So the last project of that year featured a new group. Again, people I hadn't worked with in the past. I do believe that is where I met Bobby. I think. Might have been in the same group with him as on a different project earlier, but we didn't really talk. But that last project of year 2 was where we really started to get along. We vibed, I'll tell you that. Although I'll say this because I don't know if he's in the chat. He's probably not in the chat. If he is, I apologise. But everyone else in the group hated him. I loved him. No one else fucking liked him. Because he hardly ever showed up for anything. Not that I blame him for that. You know, I was nothing but envious of people that didn't fucking bother with this university shit. But yes, I start descending. You know, I'll get halfway through this waypoint, then I'll start descending. But what? Yeah, and that project was we had to make an advert for a charity. Weirdly specific subject, but that was what we had to do. We had to make a advert for a charity. A lot of planes around here, almost like it's one of the busiest airports on Earth. I don't know. But this topic was the best project I ever had at university. This was one of the only times I felt happy. But dramatically. But, I was the sound guy. I was one of 2 sound guys on this project, I think. Which is an easy job, because you just kind of smile and nod, and you point a microphone at things. It's not complicated work. Not complicated work at all. And, so we cast the actors for this charity advert, and we shot in, I don't remember where we shot, but I don't know, somewhere. Which is the first project, actually. The other place we shot was on the university campus, because the thing to know about that university is its filmmaking, facilities, woeful. Woeful beyond words. To the tune of there weren't any, right? But that project was like the first time we'd been allowed in like the studio segment of the university, and so we shot a little bit in there. I got to have like my legs in one shot. That was fun. I think the charity we were filming for, it was about what was it about? I think it was let me think. Yeah, it was like a charity to do with like music and the autistic, I think. I sincerely, truthfully don't remember. But so that was the project. And I remember this project was kind of spread over 2 terms. We kind of started late in one term, finished it the rest of the next term. Actually, there was a mini project on the side. I must talk about that one as well. I'm going to note that down on the sheet, actually, because I don't know that I'll get to it this stream. Okay, and yeah, and I remember someone in that group proposed that we come back from half-term early so that we could start working on it quicker. Fuck that. Okay, that idea can go straight to hell. Absolutely go straight to fucking hell and burn forever. I am not compromising my fucking half-term for this fake goddamn charity advert. That's not fucking happening. I didn't say those words, but I was thinking them loud. And ultimately that didn't end up happening anyway, but... So we filmed and frankly had a lovely time. Certainly I did, because for me it was easy. Like I say, I was the sound recordist. I didn't have to do anything. I had to, for the sake of the course, give like some spiel about how I was doing something. Think, oh, I'm really taking into account the role sound players in this. It was all bullshit. I didn't give a fuck. Couldn't pay me to give a fuck. What happens if I turn... I'm going to do a little experiment here. I'm going to turn navigation back on. Oh yeah, that's turning incorrectly. Or is it? Oh, is it doing what it's meant to do now? Is the plane going to fly correctly? This is very exciting, folks, I have to say. Nope. No, it is not. We're going to turn heading select back on. And it's going to steer us right with any luck. I've compromised my position in the extreme. God damn it. Okay, fine, whatever. But where was I? Yes, this project, that was a real breeze. It was easy. It was fun. I liked everyone on the course. On the course, no, hang on, no, I didn't like everyone. I hated most of the people on the course. But there was someone in that group called Abby. Abby was lovely. We never talked that much. But Abby was lovely. She was a very keen artist. And I think she also felt some regret over choosing the film course. I kind of had a sixth sense for who regrets this, and I met a few people. I was like, we never said it aloud to each other, because that would have been admitting it, and that couldn't let that happen. But, yeah, you knew them when you met them. That they were as miserable as you were. Well, not necessarily miserable. The miserable ones were an intense minority, of which I was one of the only members, but, yeah, certainly you knew which ones regretted it. But also on this group was a person by the name of Sam. And Sam was an odd one. Sam became renowned for his anger. He was an angry man, was Sam. Sam, I am pissed off. This is very much the tone he gave. And, you know, let's, oh, hang on, the talky people are doing things. See to Magvu as planned. Oh, I think I will. I'm going to request an altitude decrease by 10k feet. How do I change my altitude? I wiggle this knob is what I do. FL200, vertical speed, and we descend. Hooray, who fucking ray. Right. And we'll keep our speed as even as we can. Might be a bit of a challenge. Oh no, seems to be, there we go. Right. Where were we? Do I want to put a pin in the stories there, actually? Because there's certainly not time to get to, you know, year 3 or the side project in year 2. So you know what? I think I will. As much as I want to get to some of the other stuff that happened in the second year, or indeed didn't happen in the second year. I mean, look forward to that story. And especially the third year. That was a time third year. I think I will put a pin in it there. Yeah, those are my initial batch of university stories. There are far more. I'm nowhere near done. I can't wait to tell you about a woman by the name of Eggley. And my brush with the photography course. Oh yeah, I was talking about Sam, wasn't I? Yes, Sam was notorious for his rage issues. I remember one time in the first year we had to discuss, like, give an update on our project. That's the story I can tell, actually, as we're circling back now. But yeah, there was... I remember his group had to go on stage and discuss how their thing was going at some point. And you could see them in the background. People were talking amongst themselves as they were getting up to talk. And you know, they were kind of beckoning, saying, "Oh, come on, Sam, we got to talk about this." And Sam was, you know, getting, you know, twitchy and angry with it. And eventually, Sam, like, pushed one of them. Got really violent and kind of snapped at one of them and like pushed him back. He made it entirely clear he wasn't going to go along with them on that particular matter. Yeah, people didn't get along with Sam. No one wanted him in their group. Indeed, he didn't try to join anyone's group when people were, you know, figuring out their groups. You know, oh, let's go together. You know, yeah, have you got anyone to go with? You want to come with us? Sam would skulk in the corner like fucking Dracula. Looked like Dracula, actually. He's very pasty, but yeah, he did not want to participate in this nonsense. I'm going to increase the descent velocity a tad. Yeah, no one wanted Sam in their group. The only reason he ended up in one was because the tutor said, "Hey, Sam, why didn't you go in that group?" No one wanted to be that group, I'll tell you. You know, people knew not to give Sam responsibilities, which proved difficult in the third year when he ended up being in charge of a film. But anyway. Evans, there was another story I was going to tell, and you know what? I've blanked completely on what it was. Which is annoying. But perhaps I'll remember next stream. Indeed, I'll probably just end up repeating half of what I've already said here, but whatever. What the devil ever. I'll not say a fucking thing outside. Heavens above. Oh yes, I remember what I was going to tell. I think it might have been at that same meeting, the same year meeting, when we were giving updates on how our project was going. So the thing to know about me, I've mentioned this in previous streams, and I don't make a secret of it. I'm a type 1 diabetic. Have been since I was 7 years old. Indeed, this year will be the 20th anniversary of my having that condition. But anyway, so yeah, I'm a type 1 diabetic. Which means that occasionally my blood sugar plummets to the ground. You know, and usually when that happens, I have some glucose tablets. I sit down. I try not to do anything extraneous. Unfortunately, at this incident, none of that was remotely possible. None of it. Because I didn't have any glucose in my bag, which is no one's fault but my own, I should point out. Didn't have any glucose in my bag. I didn't. I couldn't stay still because I had to talk in front of the class. So, luckily, I had some kind of stale biscuits at like the bottom of my bag. That was all I had. Because I've got a real complex about causing a fuss, and you know, I was under the impression I've said, hey, my medical condition, my chronic medical condition is playing up. I need you to take one for the team for me. You know, I was very worried that people wouldn't understand that. Indeed, that group probably wouldn't have understood that. They would have thought I was slacking. But anyway. So and this was a particularly bad hypo, is the thing to remember. I felt like I was going to fall unconscious at any moment. There were like spots in my vision. I was sweating profusely, even though it wasn't a very hot day. Breathing heavily. God, I felt like I was going to fucking die. And, that's a bit dramatic. Clearly I lived, so... Spoiler alert. But, far are we to the, There we go. Right. So I don't... What the devil is going on with this flight course? What is actually going on there? Something has bugged out. I can't believe this is a real navigational table. Something has gone horribly wrong here. And unfortunately we have to compensate. But I do wonder... Oh, are you going to crash, Flight Sim? Don't crash. Please don't crash. Please don't crash. I'm so close to landing. Don't crash. Don't crash. Don't do this to me, Flight Sim. Don't do this to me. Don't do this to me. Come on. Come on. Return to life, Flight Sim. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Flight Sim. I knew you had it in you. Alright, so yeah. Now luckily, I managed to say my spiel, even though I look like a zombie. You know, I said everything I was meant to say, and I look good doing it. I didn't look good doing it. I looked half dead. I don't even remember what I was meant to be saying, but I remember the hypo. I remember that particularly bad hypo I was having. I don't know if it says something that one of my defining university memories is a catastrophic, near catastrophic, let's not be dramatic, medical condition. But there we go. That's what I got out of it. Oh, that's the wrong button. I wanted to, Now, the question is, will this entire thing break if I click that one? Request it. IFR clearance. Instrument FP. Well, I don't know what FP stands for. So I'm not going to chance it. I'm going to ask for the next vector to the next waypoint, because I don't think the game's going to know what the fuck is going on. But if I turn on navigation mode, what's going to happen? Is it going to behave, or is it going to go right off the rails again? The answer is yes. Off the rails. Okay. Oh, then again, leveling off. I think Flight Sim's gonna behave now. No promises, but I think we'll, it will do as we want now, not as it wants. Gonna be a team player again. This is a good thing. This is good. This is progress. Yes! Okay. If anyone, legitimately, if anyone knows what the hell that was just now, let me know. Alright, so now we can have a hopefully fairly straightforward, peaceful landing in Rio de Janeiro. If I had to give a little preview for gonna maintain 9,000 already. Ooh, I like Rio. I like Rio. 9,000 vertical speed and ooh, let's control the speed. Let's bring it down some actually, because so close now. No, we're not that close. We've still got maybe half hour to go. If I had to guess. Now, if we have a look at the Isoline map. Isoline map? Isoline? How mountainous is Rio? Because I feel like it's fairly famous for its mountains, right? I mean, Christ the Redeemer is on top of one, so... I feel like the flight paths must take that into account. But if I had to give a preview for the next batch of stories that will be on Sunday's stream, do tune in for those. The third year, everyone had to write and direct their own film. Every single person on the course. You can imagine some shit went down. I get to tell you about Dom, I get to tell you about Ella, I get to tell you about... And again, I shan't use any of these people's full names, that would be immoral, but I'll use their first name because they're all fairly common names. And you're not going to know who any of them are, because none of them have gone on to be in any way famous. But in spite of their greatest hope... Oh, and I get to talk about Shane. Oh, Shane was a dick. Oh, I can't wait. Shane was the worst person on Earth. Nah, there's worse people on Earth, like Mussolini, Stalin, Pol Pot, perhaps, but regardless, Shane was a dick. And I get to talk about what a dick Shane was. That's exciting. That is exciting. You know what? Because I'm using that NVIDIA AI thing this stream that like cancels out all fan noise. I've had my fan on this entire, my very loud air conditioner fan on this entire stream. I guarantee you've not heard hide of it, hide nor hair of it. But as a result of having it on, this was kind of a secondary effect. My computer is running so cool right now, even though Flight Sim is a notoriously high-spec game. It's very cool in here. I mean, I can't hear the Stellaris soundtrack at all, but whatever. Whatever, that's just there to kind of fill silence where necessary. I'm guessing that is a coastline. God help me if it's a... Is that a mountain? God, I think that might be a mountain. Or no, it's a coastline. Maybe. I cannot tell what that shape is, and it unsettles me. It legitimately could be like either or. It's definitely a mountain. Absolutely a mountain, unless we've got 3,000 feet to descend. That's great! Oh, that is fabulous. But again, this flight course, it must take that into account, right? It has to. UTBOM there. Fun fact, anagram for bottom. So that's fun. A little reference to bums there. Actually, there is like a nav point somewhere in America is bum, which is the highlight of my life. It is a magnificent word, bum. You can do all sorts with it. I love it. Yeah, I think I'm going to miss this here mountain. And I know it is a mountain at this point. But I am unsettlingly close to it, I'll say that. Man. Oh, wiggling around now. That's not what the done thing over a goddamn mountain, but... Oh, I am turning. Oh, alright, heading mode goes back on now.
Descend and maintain 6,300 feet. Expect VOR DME Yankee runway 15 approach via UTBOM transition. Clear to UTBOM
Yep.
Cessna Sierra Whiskey.
Oh, yeah. That's... Oh, hang on. Oh, buttons. What buttons? Oh, heavens. Oh, heavens. Gracious me. Okay. What did he want? 6,300? Let's do that.
Cessna Sierra Whiskey Tango descend and maintain
5800? Absolutely.
Descend and maintain 5,800 feet. Cessna Sierra Whiskey Tango.
3,300, absolutely.
Descend and maintain 3,300 feet. Cessna
3,300, there we go. Is my barometer... Oh, my barometer was a little off. Heavens. That's it, that's gotta be it. That's gotta be the airport. Let's turn AP off now. Okay. I'm in intense focus mode currently. Where's D-Cell? Actually, I don't have a clue.
Tango descend and maintain 2,500 feet.
Oh, all the way back there, and I absolutely did not. That's good.
2,500
Oy
feet.
vey.
Cessna
Alright.
Sierra Whiskey Tango.
Hopefully this will be a fairly smooth landing.
Cessna Sierra Whiskey Tango descend and maintain 1,700 feet.
Descend and maintain 1,700 feet. Cessna Sierra Whiskey Tango.
I'm gonna cheat briefly. Okay, my landing gear are down. Good.
8 miles northwest of
Good.
Rio.
Thank God.
Contact Rio Tower on 119er decimal tree flight when inbound.
Oh my God, I was almost exactly on target. That is... I'm gonna compliment myself there. That was good. I'm going hundreds of miles an hour too fast, however.
6 miles northwest, inbound for DME Yankee runway 15 approach.
Cessna Foxtrot Sierra Whiskey Tango Rio Tower. Altimeter tree 0 decimal 12 wind 1.
Ladies and gentlemen,
20.
welcome.
Cleared for your DME Yankee runway 15 approach.
Maybe I'm saying it a bit early, but regardless,
Sierra Whiskey Tango wind
welcome
20. Cleared to land
to Rio de Janeiro. Please enjoy your stay. There's so much to do. I never watched Bo Burnham's Inside. But I suspect those are the words. I don't know what the hell was going on with the route there. That was really weird. Really weird. That can only be attributed to the game screwing up, I think. Never seen anything like that before, I'll say that. Ah, that lovely blue. Need to just speed up enough to prevent the plane from stalling. Don't want that. Nor do I want to crash into the river, actually. That would be undesirable. At best, I feel. I can only talk for myself. I don't want to crash into the river. Oh, and a little lag spike it likes to do right at the most crucial moment. silky smooth, not it's silk that's kind of laden with glass, but regardless. Oh, that will do as a landing. Oh, I'm happy with that. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Rio de Janeiro. I have no idea what the local time is, but oh, there's the exit to the runway. Let's turn off here.
Whiskey Tango, turn next taxiway. Clio Airport information, uniform 22.
128 decimal tree, 5 Cessna, Sierra Whiskey Tango.
They're not really telling me where I'm meant to park my plane, although I'm guessing it's the big marker that says 3.4 nautical miles. That would be my guess. I have to guess. Goodness, this was a long stream, wasn't it? 2 hour 41 by my count. Pretty long. But it was a good one. Didn't feel that long to me, I'll say that. Looking knots taxi speed. This airport can take one for the team. Well, let's do this one by the book. Let's turn nice and slow. I'm going to park by the baggage handling people? Okay. Feel like I'll get in their way a bit, but she's facing the wrong way. I'm going to park the plane here. Okay, I'm going to ram through you, and I'm sorry for that, but there we go. Gave me a fucking weird route to get into the airport, and you gave me a weird route to park. But regardless, here I am. And here we are. I'm going to thank you for joining us, ladies and gentlemen. I had a great stream. I had a fun stream. I didn't think I could fill up, to this hour and a half flight, just rattling, just with stories. But I didn't even get through all the stories, because I get to do more next stream, which will be on Sunday. The question is anyone I know currently streaming? Lots of people. That's fine. Nah, I won't bother raiding. But, no, I'm going to thank you for joining us. I'm going to invite you to do so again next time, which will be Sunday at 9 PM BST. And so, you know what? We haven't shut the plane down, have we? Heavens above. Where are my manners? Heavens. Let's do that. Control-Shift-E. And we'll turn everything off. Now the plane is cold and dark, except that for some reason. Alright. The plane is off. And so am I. Thank you for joining me. See you next time. Bye-bye. Balls!